Blah, blah, blah.
Happy Halloween, my horrifically malformed homunculi, and welcome to the final installment of the Return of Shelf-O-Ween. We've come a long way through the trenches of Skybound's Universal Monster Run. There was Dracula, Frankenstein 2, The Mummy, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. But now we've come to the final comic run we'll be talking about this Halloween season. The only catch is, well, it's not finished yet. That's right, we're going to be taking a quick look at the first half of The Invisible Man. This segment won't take too long, so let's just dive right in. The Invisible Man began in August of this year, and is estimated to finish next month in November. James Tynion, still not too sure if I'm saying that right, returns to the Universal Monster series after Dracula, along with Danny Stripes, who worked with another Universal Monster storyteller, Dan Waters, on Coffin Bound. The story takes place before the events of the movie, as Dr. Jack Griffin, currently the Visible Man, develops the formula that makes living creatures invisible. A bit of a risky angle to take, since this means we spend a majority of our time with the Invisible Man while he's still visible. And we follow the entire development process, from acquiring funding, from shipping materials. We follow Griffin's complete experiment under a microscope. The book is also told in a first-person perspective from Griffin himself. The book begins at the point in the film where Griffin is confronting the patrons of the Lionhead Inn. The dialogue taken straight from the film.
All right, you fools. You've brought it on yourselves. Everything would have come right if you'd only left me alone. You've driven me near madness with your peering through the keyholes and gaping through the curtains. And now you'll suffer for it. You're crazy to know who I am, aren't you? All right, I'll show you.
Immediately after that, Jack begins to tell us about how he became invisible. I love this because it's like the monologue that Jack had with the film is directed at us, the reader. The run has a strong start. Unfortunately, this is where the story starts to lose me. And the reason is mainly because I don't like the depiction of Griffin in this book. What I mean by that is that we learn that Griffin has constant, very violent, intrusive thoughts, as if to paint the picture that Jack was always a little unstable. He has constant visions of murdering the people around him, choking them, stabbing them, gouging their eyes out. It depicts Jack as having some very dark demons, and I don't really care for that. In the film, it's stated that the monocaine powder, a drug that was the key to Jack's formula, has a very major psychological effect on those who ingest it, driving them mad and even violent. The characters in the movie spoke very highly of Jack, despite being so caught up with his experiments that he mostly locked himself away to stay focused on his work. For me, Jack was the victim of his own experiment, driven mad by his own concoction, and sent on a massive power trip when he became invisible. You can even see a part of him that still wanted to be normal when he checked into the Lion's Head, a fraction of his sanity that's still unaltered by the monocaine. But the crazy side eventually won over when the patrons just couldn't mind their own business. But Jack in the comic, if he turned invisible, I don't think he'd ever want to be turned back to normal. Hell, he seemed excited to try and finish his work because he's dying to abuse the power. Jack here is already a power-hungry lunatic, and that completely assassinates the feeling of tragedy that the movie had from the very beginning. I wouldn't feel bad if this Griffin was trapped invisible forever and drove himself to his own destruction. So in terms of characterization, I'm not a huge fan, but the story is, well, a different story. Showing how Jack became invisible is a risky move, as I've said, but luckily the story is so engaging it doesn't even matter. It's interesting seeing Jack's progress, from slowly figuring out how to turn a rat invisible to turning a whole cat invisible. And I'm assuming eventually turning a human being invisible, though that's probably not going to happen until the final issue of the run. I also like how Jack's face is constantly obscured by shadow, no matter where he is. Again, I'm not a fan of the characterization here, but the art perfectly captures that this guy is a ticking time bomb. And that's all I have to say about the Invisible Man comic for now. Maybe I'll do a full review when the run wraps up in a couple of weeks. Who knows? But wait! We're not done yet. I mean, come on, you honestly think I'd just end the finale like this? I figured it would be fun to grade these books overall and rank them by their grade. We're going to grade these on a scale of 1 to 10 on a scale of 3 fronts: story, art, and how well it matches up with the films. First up, Dracula. Hey, editing me, I don't care where you put this in, you leave this in the video. It is hard to read lines with this on. It constricts my cheek muscles and it makes me fuck up more. In terms of story, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Aside from a couple continuity issues with the film, it beautifully captures the characters from the movie and expands on them by showing us more of how they reacted to Dracula's presence in London, making them deeper and richer than they were in the original. The art gets a 5 out of 5 across the board with how beautifully macabre it is. It perfectly encapsulates madness through its visuals, kinda like the one Arkham Asylum comic from way back when that had almost a similar art style. As for film affiliation, I'll give it another 4. Again, outside of some very minor continuity issues here and there, it is a damn near perfect partner piece to the movie. With a score of 87%, Dracula gets a solid B+ grading. Nothing is perfect, but by God, was it close. Up next, The Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives. The story is a middle-of-the-ground 3 out of 5. The creature wasn't too important to the plot, the human villain was only a threat for about an issue and a half. We didn't get a very satisfying confrontation between him and the creature, but it did lead to the funniest fuck this shit I'm out moment in a comic book. As for positives, Kate is a fairly complex character. Her trauma monologues are well written and thought-provoking. While Collier had little to do, his personality was batshit insane, and he was fun when in panel. The story taking place in the 80s was also a very interesting touch. Artwork again gets another 3. It's very by the numbers with little visual flair to make it stand out. It lacks presence and style. The design of the Gill Man, something I didn't touch on in the review, is alright. He's been shedding his skin, so it makes sense he'd be designed a little bit different from the first appearance. The shoulder pads might be a little much in my opinion, though. As for affiliation, that's gonna be a little hard to grade. It's the only legit sequel out of the books, so in terms of being a continuation, I'll give it a generous 4. Bringing The Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives to a 67%, bring its grade to a D+. Frankenstein, my favorite Universal monster and my least favorite run so far. The story gets a 1. This could have been so much better. I was thinking of giving it a 2 on the moments from the film, but that wouldn't be fair. The original story is just bad, in my opinion. Paul isn't interesting. The only thing that grabbed my attention with him was his motivation. Someone taking revenge for the theft of a loved one's corpse is interesting and sounds like a plotline for a Hammer Frankenstein film. But outside of Paul's motivation, the only thing he contributes to the story is being dead weight. A ball and chain we're forced to wear as we navigate the original film's plot. And don't even get me started on all the characters from the movie. Go back and watch my review for my thoughts on that, because I don't want to relive that pain, thank you very much. Artwork gets a 4. It's more stylized than the previous book, but still doesn't touch Dracula. The accentuated shadows, the grimy color palette, the gothic design throughout, it's damn good work. Affiliation gets a 3. It follows the movie beat for beat alright, but the assault on the characters' personalities is something I cannot forgive. Though the moments from the movie are the highlights, both in visual and presentation, the sheer idea that Paul is just hiding around each scene, well, it's poison to me. I'd fit in like a glove in this story, even I'm being mean to the fucking 10-year-old. This brings Frankenstein to a percentage of 53%. F. With a note to the principal and a call home. And lastly, The Mummy. Story gets a 5 out of 5. I don't usually get an emotional response from comics. Very few manage to do that, whether it's excitement from reading MHA or pure sorrow from Usagi Yojimbo. Read the story titled Noodles. That shit destroyed me. Those are the only 2 instances in where a comic hit me on an emotional level. That number is now 3. Because, oh my god, this story has so many layers. It's sweet, it's romantic, it's sad. The only negative some would have is that it's not scary, but that doesn't matter to me because it works without being scary. The artwork gets a 4. Sure, it's not too special in terms of Dracula or even Frankenstein in terms of dark, foreboding atmosphere, but if it was, it wouldn't work with this story. The style in this one has so much character behind it. The lack of atmosphere was not a sacrifice made in vain. It's warm, cute, inviting, which fits well with the plot of the book. Affiliation once again gets a 5 all day, on the grounds that it improves the movie's story for me. The Mummy is a slow burn film with a not so thrilling climax. This is where the book shines. Not only does it improve the finale of the film, but has a much steadier and consistent pace to the story. The film will always be a classic in my eyes. That will never change. But just because something is classic, doesn't mean it can't be improved. The Mummy gets a near perfect score of 93%, giving it an A grade and the top spot on the Universal Monster comic book pyramid. As for The Invisible Man, let's say for the time being it's sitting comfortably between Dracula and Creature from the Black Lagoon, until the run finishes. And that brings us to the end of the return of Shelf-O-Ween. Thank you all so much for joining me on this beautiful Halloween season. Hope to see you guys next Halloween with a whole new theme and string of reviews. This has been so much fun, way more fun than last year. If you're new and found my channel through Shelf-O-Ween this year, hope to see you guys in the near future. I'm going to be working on the next Shelf of the Dam soon, as well as cutting into a huge recording backlog I've been growing for the past year or two. That being said, hope you all have a spooky Halloween, stay safe out there, may your buckets be blessed with full-size candy bars, and as always, hope to see you boils and ghouls next time. Happy Halloween! Oh my god. Oh no! The Velcro's sticking to my gloves! No, you fucker! No! Let go, you demon strap!